Hey ManCave, this is Bob from the Bob Zenskill ManCave, and we're doing a review of an Atlas Gold Series switcher, an S2. I don't normally do Atlas locomotives. I haven't really bought a lot of these, and I just wasn't sure I really liked them before. But this new Gold Series seems to bring that standard up a little bit, give you DCC and sound in this little tiny switcher. So let's go take a look at it. Okay, this locomotive comes with an operating instructions, with all the stuff you kind of need to know about it, the Gold Series, how to operate it, all the sounds, all the functions and what kind of sounds it does. CV instructions on assigning a different kind of horn if you want it. Also has an illustrated parts breakdown if you want to take it apart, have to do some repair or maintenance. Also has some parts listed on the back if you need those. Okay, let's look at some of these details, shall we? It's a standard S2 locomotive, and it's got the Sioux line black and yellow paint scheme that they had way back before they went to a more recognizable white with red lettering and a little bit of black. But it was mostly white locomotives and stuff and rolling stock. But the black and yellow does stand out a little bit. I'm not sure I really like the black paint scheme, because in reality black at night you can't see that locomotive coming unless it's just a headlight, and sometimes if you got that extra side view of more color, more brighter colors, sometimes you can see those differentiating colors coming at you. But that is why they have a yellow and black front to it. And the handrails, even though they're a little flexible at the top, they're securely fastened. The side ones are extremely stiff, which is good, which means they are not bent. And as you can see that they are not bent at all. They're very rigid. 2103 is the number on the front, and you can see your coupler detail is pretty good. Nice spring action to it. It's got a little magnetic decoupler on the bottom. As you can see that from the side. Stairways are not painted. Well, maybe they are painted. There's a little, looks like a really thin paint line there, safety line. And you can see the grills detail right here. They are raised grills. I can't tell if they were separately applied, but look like they're molded in. But all the little tiny vent grills, the ridges, you can actually see the detail and feel the detail when you rub up against them. You got your horn up here on the top, and you can see your truck detail down here. Not too bad. Looks pretty accurate. Even got some lettering down in here. I'm not sure if you can actually see the lettering, but I'll probably get a little closer and take a look at the lettering later. Toward the back of the locomotive, we have the same black and yellow striping. Handrails on the side here by the door, handrail here, handrails attached to the cab, and of course you got a typical coupler on the back because you need that. And I do not There might be a light on the back, I'm not sure, we'll take a look at that later. And of course the other side looks basically the same as the other, slightly different box here in the middle. Take a look at the top. Got a radiator right up in here and all the detail across the top. Smokestack for the diesel engine and some other handrails and fillers up on top. So let's go take a look and see how this thing runs. Or let's go a little further detail and take a look at the decals and see if we can read them. Okay, I've gotten real close to this camera and this label right down there by the handrails. You cannot read. I've zoomed in about as close as I can get. You cannot read those. But you can see the detail up close. This is an autofocus mode here. You can read the 2103 on the side pretty easily. Here's some top view. And so forth. It looks pretty good. Let's go take a look at operations. Okay, let's take a look at the headlight. That's F0. And while it's stationary, it's in dim mode. And in the direction that it's moving, there's a headlight on the front and in the back. So if I'm going to put this into forward, it gets a little bit brighter. When I slow down, it gets dim. Very nice. Okay, we're going to start off with some movements. And we're going to go forward first. 1 speed step. 2. 3. 4. 5. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So it moves pretty slow for a switcher, which is supposed to be slow. So let's go in reverse. I'm going to go all the way up to 10. Start off there. Going down 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now let's test this momentum. Okay, I'm going to turn the speed up to 60 speed steps and just stop it. And not hit the red emergency stop because I'll just stop it dead. I'm just going to quickly decrease fast and see how it goes. So here we go up to 60. As it's going to come into view here. Stop. And there you go. That's momentum. Okay, let's quickly go over these ESU Loksound Select decoder sounds that are installed in this. It's got some neat features. You've probably seen some of these features in the scale trains Big Blow in HO, where they have a startup sequence. And this startup sequence starts with the mute button, 8. And there we go, we're fully running. You press F8 again, and it will do a shutdown. And this can be turned on and off with or without the engine moving. There's a couple modes. Works only with engine sounds on, and there's some things in here that will work with only them being on. So even though it's in muted and down, you can still turn on some of these features, like the bell, the horn. And that stays on until you turn or press F2 again. And so you can do that. And also the 2 coupler clank, which is F3. Okay, that doesn't have to be run with the engine running. But if you're going to do F4, which is diesel fans, you push. The first push turns it on, the second push turns it off. Those have to be with the engine running and it moving. There's another one for dynamic brake fan, same thing, F5. Optional ditch lights, which there isn't any ditch lights for this. That's F6. F7 is a switching mode. And that, let's see, that doesn't make any sound, that's more of a mode. And then F8, of course. F9 is a manual notching, up sounds. That means you can make it sound like it's going up in gear or going down in gear if you press F10. Pressing F3 would turn on a Mars light, but that is not installed. F12 will dim the headlight, and F4 is a functional output. This is not installed on this locomotive. F14 is talking defect detector sounds. And if you want to have that doing it all the time, you can have F14 pressed twice, and that'll constantly run. F15 is cab sounds. And so F16 is rail joint clank sounds, and that must be operated with it running and the sounds on. F17 is brake set and release sounds with the sound on. And sanding valve sounds, F18, that has to have the sounds on. F19 is a short air let-off sound. Well, let's try that one. Okay, F20 is air compressor sounds. That one has to work with the engine sound on. And F21 is going to be the pop valve sounds. You got those going right there. So this Alco S2 is pretty good. I'm relatively surprised, but probably shouldn't be surprised that Atlas, who's been around for a long time, we all use their track. It's actually sitting on Atlas track right now. So it should be no surprise that Atlas is starting to come out with some better locomotives to compete in the marketplace that Kato and Scale Trains and Intermountain and Athearn and everything else that's out there in N scale have been putting out for a number of years. And you know, you get some competition and some of the technology that is out there, with especially with ESU Loksound, all these little pieces and parts and sounds that they put in there to make it more realistic and run more prototypical on your layout is awesome. One thing to point out is that you can change some CVs to adjust what kind of air horn you want. You can get the dual Leslie A200, just a plain Leslie, some Nathan horns, some more Leslie types of horns, Hancock air whistle, Wabco, I mean all sorts of different chimes and horns and stuff to make it sound a little bit different if you want to. You probably don't want to put a steam whistle sound on there, but if you're so inclined to do that, go right ahead. But a lot of bells and whistles, literally, and you know, let's get a final reading on this locomotive. The one thing I did notice is if you don't have clean track, the 4 trucks are going to find those dirty parts of your track. So keep the track clean, and you should have some smooth running. So let's go to a final assessment on this locomotive. Well, there you go, ManCavians. That's been my review of this Atlas Alco S2 switcher in the Gold Series version of what Atlas is putting out these days. The Gold version being the top of the line version, which gives you sound, DCC, all the bells and whistles that comes with that, all the extra details if there is any, and so forth. So one final review is the best thing about this was the sound. The movement is smooth and really detail oriented to that slow speed steps. Even at 1 speed step the thing was moving. It was unreal. I've only seen that in Scale Trains, and they've also got ESU Loksound, so their motor control seems to be very good in this locomotive. You have a lower series called the Silver Series, and I believe that does not come with sound, but it does have DCC. You can get these at your local hobby store or on the web. I found this for retail of $159, and the manufacturer's retail price is a lot higher than that, around $240. $159 is not too bad. With all the extra bells and whistles you have in there, it does sound great. It runs pretty good, as far as I could tell anyway. Just make sure you got clean track. 4 truck switchers are going to be very susceptible to dirty track, especially in your yard. So clean your track and your wheels, and you should have a error-free running. So I'm going to give this a big thumbs up from the ManCavian president here, and we'll see you on the other side of the tracks. Just make sure you're not on the tracks, you know, and happy model railroading. Remember, stay off those tracks. Bye. So if you like what you saw here today, go ahead and click subscribe down here below, or follow my Facebook, Google+, Twitter, and my Instagram links down here below in the comments. Also, click on one of my other links for videos as well. As always, ManCavians, happy model railroading. Stay off the tracks. Bye.